segment at the end of it. Then we have who's the listener? So we have a listener, and she is Toastmaster Developers.
Hello, Toastmasters. I will be noting down all the interesting modern phrases spoken by the speaker during the prepared speeches and the table topic session, and at the end of the session, I will be highlighting who spoke what, and the audience will have to guess.
Thank you so much, Madam President. Now it's time to relish this moment with lots of laughter and words. And for that, I'm going to invite the Toastmaster Mufaddin Moses.
Hello everyone, so I will be the Toastmaster of the day. I invented a new word. Can anyone guess that word? Whiteness, anything. I invented a new word. The word is plagiarism. Okay, why don't scientists trust atoms? Why don't scientists trust atoms? I guess you can answer this. Because they make up everything. So where are the average things manufactured? Where are the average things manufactured? In the satisfactory. Okay. Now this one, what people who love maths can answer this. Why don't calculus majors throw house parties? Why don't calculus majors throw house parties? Because you should never drink and drive. Okay, there is one more for the party. How do you throw a space party? How do you throw a space party? A space party. You plan it. You plan it. Okay, what's the difference between a cat and a comma? What's the difference between a cat and a comma? A cat has claws at the end of paws. A cat has claws at the end of paws. A comma is a pause at the end of a clause. Okay, so this one is the last one. Once my dog ate all these Scrabble tiles. Once my dog ate all these Scrabble tiles, he kept leaving little messages all around the house. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster, for your wonderful expression. Now, next we will move forward towards our first segment, that is of your videos. And our first speaker is very dynamic, very useful, very experienced, and whenever he speaks, he is as strong as ever. And today, I'm very happy that he is delivering a project on Connect with Storytelling. So if you love his stories, he is doing amazing. And if you hate the stories, so he will definitely make those stories. So he is distinguished Toastmaster Sarfaraz Nazir, and I am his evaluator. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. So DDM Sarfaraz Nazir speech title is Forgive and Forget. DDM Sarfaraz Nazir.
Toastmaster Ali, I just want to make sure the timer is showing color lights or is going to change the background.
Okay. Eating surprise, I am I visible to you? So I can
Yes. Okay.
change my virtual background.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
need, I'm here and
Let me.
Let the spotlight goes timer and the speaker.
Okay. I think I forgive and forget. I've heard it, I have read it, and I have dreamed it. What does it mean when someone says forgive and forget? Like the character Buzz in Toy Story, who went to infinity and beyond. But I did not find the true meaning of forgive and forget. The Bible does not talk about forgive and forget, but scholars say it mentions forgiveness, and that simply means you forgive other people's sins so that God forgives your sins. In Islam, I did not find the phrase forgive and forget. Islamic scholars say that the topic of forgiveness is if you see someone commit a sin, you should cover up those sins. You don't go around spreading their sins. So what does it mean to forgive and forget? Now, unfortunately, in our lives, we don't have a delete button that when something bad happens to you, when someone causes you pain, that you simply hit the delete button and it goes away. No matter what you do, what you try, how much you try to forget, you cannot. Let me give you some examples. Forgiveness is not about somebody really causing you great pain. It could be just a simple pain, like someone breaking your trust. One day I was at work. I received an email from someone asking me to come and attend a luncheon meeting in another building. And I said, okay. So during lunch, I went to the other building. Before I left my office, I put away all my papers that I'm working on. My desk was clean when I left. And that's because of my organization skills. It appeared that I was not even there. At the event, I got carried away. I was talking to people and I lost track of time. I was late in coming back. Now, I did not know that my boss had come by to tell me something or ask me something, whatever the case was. She saw a clean desk and she made a poor judgment. She assumed that I did not come to work and I did not call anyone to let them know. So I'm playing hooky. What does she do? She calls my home number. My wife answers the call and she said, can I speak to Sarfraz? My wife says, he's not here. He's at work. She said, no, he's not at work. Now, what do you think a wife is going to think about when someone calls her and tells her that her husband, who is supposed to be at work, is not at work? Now she's thinking, maybe, just maybe, I'm lying dead somewhere by the highway. Now, she decided to call me to see if I answered the call. At that time she called me, I was returning to my building. I was walking in the parking lot. Hello, where are you? I'm at work. No, you're not at work. Your boss called and said you're not at work. Oh. Now she's not thinking I'm dead. Now she's thinking, you're not at work. Are you with another woman? Wait till you come home. I'm going to kill you. See the pain? Just a small mistake. What was the purpose of calling? Why not leave a note and see if I come back and see you. If all day passes by and I don't come by, maybe that I never showed up. Next day, when I show up, then call me and say, hey, where were you yesterday? So I go to her and say, oh, I just wanted to ask you about something. Well, nothing, meaningless question. But she caused pain to my wife for a moment. She's thinking that something's happened to me because I left for work and I'm not at work. Now, it was not the pain that was caused to me. It was pain caused to my spouse. But I may also not forgive if the pain is caused to my parents. I'm going to tell you the story about Shabnam. That is not her real name, but since this speech is being recorded, I am going to use a fictitious name, Shabnam. They are family friends. The family had 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. The 2 boys were in boarding school when their parents went to Abu Dhabi for a few weeks. They asked my parents to keep the 2 girls. My parents said, oh, of course. My parents had known them since they were little kids. They treated them like their own children. They took care of them during those few weeks. Then after their parents came back and the girls moved back with their parents, we found out that they had bad-mouthed my parents. They said something that hurt my parents' feelings. I don't remember exactly what they had said, but when I heard about it, I felt bad that they had done that. Now, it's not something I'm going to forget, but there was nothing to forgive. I cannot forgive something that caused pain to my parents. What I did, I said something back to her. And then after that, I cut off my ties until she got married and moved to California. A few years back, I was in California and she found out that I'm there, close to her house. She invited me for dinner. I knocked on the door. She opened the door. Her husband was standing behind her. She looked at me, Sarfraz, it's been a long time. And what an idiot I am. I said, yes, 32 years. And her husband thinking, oh man, he's counting the days. She went through a lot of trouble. She prepared several tasty dishes. Beef dish, chicken dish, vegetable, dal, and several desserts. Her husband thought something must be going on the way she cooked all those meals for me. So she criticized all her cooking, even though the food was great. Now, after eating her delicious dishes, how can I not forgive? No, there is nothing to forgive, but I cannot forgive or forget. There's no such thing as forgive and forget. What you do is you simply move forward. Don't let it hold you back, especially when someone takes a knife and stabs you. Use that pain as a fuel and move forward. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Ramzan Premwala, and to evaluate his evaluator as Toastmaster Mufaddil Mutullah, I request Toastmaster Mufaddil to please come and elaborate this project.
Hello, everyone. So it's my privilege to evaluate our very new member. His name is TM Ramzan Printwala. I met him in one of the meetings. He's really dynamic, enthusiastic, and he loves to volunteer in various organizations. He is delivering his speech from Pathway Dynamic Leadership Level 1 Project 2, Writing Speech with a Purpose. The speech title is Having Blind Faith. The time for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Having blind faith. Over to you, PM Ramzan Prinwal.
Thank you, Tien. Can you guys hear me? Am I clearly audible? Okay, perfect. Okay. So, sorry?
You're perfectly audible and visible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So startup. You must be hearing this word since last 2-3 years a lot, and you must have heard this word if you are following.
Toastmaster Ramzan, you need to unmute yourself. And you have to start from the beginning.
Oh, sorry. I guess there's a bug. Okay. So startup. You must have heard this word at least once in your life, and it's a very common word nowadays, a buzzword, especially with the Gen Z. Every young and teenager, a young kid out there, or a teenager out there wants to build his own startup. So my fellow Toastmasters, what actually startup is, how easy it is to run a startup. And when you hear news like $370 million fundings with the case of Airlift, and then Kareem exiting and for $3 billion USD. So everyone out there believes that it's very easy to run a startup, and you just need a good idea and you can easily execute that. But that's not the case. And this takes me back when in our starting days, 13th August 2019, we delivered our very first order to our newly onboarded client, Coffee Wagera. We were very excited about the order. At 9:30, we delivered, and their plan was to launch that new menu on 14th of August as an Independence Day celebration. And as soon as we delivered, and their owner checked, and he started shouting on us, and he started scolding us, and he was not happy at all with the print we delivered, and it had multiple mistakes in rates, and at the moment I lost it, and I believe, oh man, this was our very first client, and what we are gonna do, and he insisted and requested us to fix it before the deadline, before like we just had a couple of hours. And believe me, the job on normal days, it used to take 3 to 4 days. We not only fixed that, we managed to deliver all these menus on 5 of their branches by ourselves. Me and my co-founder, we delivered these menus by ourselves. And it took us 3 hours, 3 tiring hours, but still we delivered. And although the mistake wasn't ours, it was on their end, it was their internal mistake. But why were we doing this? And what was the reason behind fixing someone else's mistake while our family members, our friends were enjoying Independence Day celebration at their home? This is what we believe, and this is what the main reason behind our startup is, to make everyone's life easier. And this is what the main objective behind all other startups out there is, whether be Baikia, whether be Kareem, whether be Airlift or any other startup. And believe me, it's not an easy road. It's not just like simple getting a good idea and just started working on that. It's very difficult road. You have to face a lot of problems. And if you are a person who wants a simple, easy, and an organized life, so startup is not for you, because you have to deal with problems like vendor issues, like team management issues. And again, sometimes you sit and you say, oh, what I am doing here? If I can easily earn a good salary by doing a corporate job, then what's the reason for me to, and why I'm why I'm doing this? So you get confused, and at times you believe maybe I should quit, and then you focus on the bigger vision that we are doing this to solve a wider problem, to serve the community, to create an impact, and that's what holds your team together, and that's what's the main motivation behind you to run a startup. So running a startup, as I already mentioned, it's not easy, but again, it's very fulfilling as well. But when you help people and when people come to you and appreciate your efforts, and when you actually see that impact, so you feel really amazing. Okay, I'm doing some good for the community. So for startups, you are it's having a blind faith. You're not clear where will you go in next 3-4 years, where your startup will be, whether you will be a multi-billion dollar company, or maybe you will just fall, just like Airlift did. Nobody expected Airlift to fail, but eventually, like it happened. So it's like that. It's like having a blind faith in your vision, in your idea, and then just going after it. And so as far as you clear what's on the horizon, you see the horizon, and you know you are going in the right direction. So I believe that you should continue on the road, and eventually one day or the other you'll obviously find the success. And and even if you fail, there is a lot to learn. And it's rightly said that I'm startup founder and failure is my skill set. So that's what we startup founders are known for. And we are always taught fail, and your ability to fail quickly and recover from that, that's what builds you, that's what builds you more stronger, and that's what helps you come back again and again and build a new startup. If you fail on one, and build another if you fail that. So that's pretty much it from my side. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar, and to describe his project details, I would like to invite Toastmaster Ganga.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, and Toastmasters and guests. Today, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan will be delivering his elective project from level 5. His pathway is presentation mastery, and the objective of this project is for the member. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about and apply the skills needed to run a lessons learned meeting during a project or after its completion. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspects of his or her leadership experience and the impact of a lesson learned meeting. As we all know, Toastmaster Asghar is an eloquent speaker, and he is well known about his crisp humor. So the time duration is 10 to 12 minutes timer. So give him a big round of applause. Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Lesson we learned. Lesson we learned. Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. The virtual stage is all yours.
Madam Toastmasters, Madam President and dear Toastmasters and guests, in my last speech, I shared my story as a leader of a small volunteer group or organization with a short-term aim to motivate volunteers to facilitate disaster victims in the relief phase in the aftermath of earthquake disaster in Hawara district under the slogan of Build Back Better. This Build Back Better slogan given by UN to the disaster expert throughout the world in order to build in a better way in the rehabilitation and reconstruction phase. After establishing that volunteer organizations and completion of the initial task, and before departing from the scene, I decided to hold a feedback meeting under an official obligation. In other words, it was a part of official duty to do this rather than, being troubled by the pangs of conscience. Little did I know that such meetings were more or less similar to the objectives of the pathway, to the objectives of this pathway project titled as Lesson Learned. So in order to fulfill the objective of this speech, I would like to share you some aspect of that meeting. Like every feedback meeting, we developed the agenda in a written form and then circulate or communicate it to all the participants of the members or attendee before the meeting. In official jargon, it is called working paper. And in the end of the meeting, we record our discussion and decision in a formal way in what we called the minutes of the meeting. That is usually in a report form, and we used it for the submission of the higher authority. So in that particular meeting, we thoroughly discussed how and why we had planned this very group with the reference of it is vision and mission under the building back or build back better. Then we discussed the reason of creating a single goal. And then we went on to divide this goal into 3 different objectives. And after dividing them into 3 objectives, we went on to divide it further into various activities. And in the end, we prepared a strategy to implement each and every activities, how to implement it on ground. So in other words, in short, it was all about the positives and negatives of our volunteer groups during the implementation and forwarding sort of suggestion and recommendations in the light of the lessons learned during the implementations. Dear Toastmasters, let me summarize what we did in the meeting. Firstly, we of course measured our success and celebrated them. Members showered me as a president with platitude, and I, as a leader, of course, giggled at the flattery of we rejoiced the success. I mean, we attended our milestones and completed the project. As byproduct of this exercise, we produced a sort of talented, skilled and trained manpower. I personally saw all those members in mock exercises and in various drills, the way they cleared the debris in a supposedly collapsed building with their basic tools like a wheelbarrow, a digging hole, a mattock, a shovel, a spade, and a coil of roof. I mean, they performed it so wonderfully that it was beyond, it was beyond my comprehension. I had never thought that they will be doing this. This success also paid back. All our founding members are now gainfully earning employees based on the talent, skills, and passions that they developed while working with us as a volunteer in the project. Secondly, we took note of the pitfalls and the barriers that we had thought or imagined, which never actually happened on the ground, and they were merely the product of our overthinking. And to some extent, this overthinking is natural. I mean, we as a human always see things in white and black, without forgetting that these are the there are various shades between a jet black and a brilliant white. But somehow, I mean, and another issue which I faced, that they would leave me during the implementation period, and they would leave me in the lurch, and I will be nowhere to do or to complete my job. Interestingly, the exact opposite happened. I left them, but in a smooth leadership transition. And thirdly, we deliberated in the meeting about the unpredictable barriers and pitfall that we unexpectedly countered. For example, there were some elements in our organization which opposed our activities due to the presence of UN or volunteer organization personals who were there to facilitate and motivate us logistically and in some time even financially. And we didn't, in fact, we hadn't done any homework to counter those elements. But somehow we involved the government and we had the last laugh. They actually wanted us to change certain activities, but we had already made our mind and would fight back them, as we always did. The one thing the activities in certain the one thing which I always thought, that the people will not cooperate with us, and I think I think it is similar with all those leaders who are running the organization and thinks that the people may not be able to support us. In short, we have completed every segment of our project successfully, but the pitfalls and barriers were there. The important point that I want to share with you is that we somehow overcome them. Now, dear Toastmasters, if the lesson learned is about the knowledge and understanding we gain from our experience, I think such meetings cannot be overemphasized, regardless of their nature and name. What is important is this, and I quote, "Lessons in life, if not repeated, repeated, will be repeated. Lessons in life will be repeated until they are not learned." Unquote. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar Ramzan. Next move towards our second last speaker, Toastmaster Mohammad Asghar Khan. And to evaluate his speech, I would like to invite Toastmaster Ghulam.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Today, Toastmaster Azhar will be giving a speech from the Pathway Dynamic Leadership. He has moved on to level 3 and doing a project which is elective. So please give a big hand to Toastmaster Azhar. What is this project all about? The project is creating effective visual aids, and the speech title is "What is the Time?" Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes, and please note. And the purpose of the project is, let me read it out for everyone. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice selecting and using a variety of visual aids during a speech. So wish you good luck, Toastmaster Azhar.
So, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Can I share my screen? Toastmasters, Alisha, let me know. How can I share my Okay, you allow. Yeah. Okay, now. Now my screen is visible or not? Let me know. Is it okay?
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay. What is the time? Every person has different thought about the time. What is the time? All my guests and fellow Toastmasters, please unmute your mic and just give me the one line. What do you think about the time? What is the time?
Time is more than money.
It's 7:40.
Great. And second one, anyone else?
Time is everything.
Timing is excellent. That's great. Anyone want to participate in this question? Okay. Anyway, now today I want to share some different definition of the time. Many of the people here one sentence, time is money, waste of time, waste of money. So please focus your time and just catch yourself every time. You should spend a life, but you have 2 and 3 things. Let me know how many people have watch and on the wrist. Now, environment has been changed. Many people doesn't like wristwatch. Many people like this wristwatch, but it doesn't mean they are not punctual. Yeah, they are very punctual because so many options, watch and clock. Sometimes we use a wall clock. Sometimes we use a digital clock. But time, today, I want to share some different definition of the time. Time is slow when you wait to someone. You can't spend time if you are waiting for someone. Time is a fast when you are late. Most of the time, especially for my case, when I get up early morning, but normally I late for my office. So time is a fast when you are late. Time is deadly when you are sad. Time is short. Time is very short when you are happy. And time is too short when you listen to Azhar Khan's speech. Time is endless. Time is endless when you are in pain. Time is very long, too long when you feel bored. Time, every moment has different definition. Time is determined by your feeling and your psychological conditions, and not by clock. So heavy. It doesn't mean you have clock or not, but it depends on your mood or your situation. What are you doing and what are you thinking? If you feel happy, so it means you want to enjoy this moment. Yes, we have to set some goals, some priorities, set the time of the couple of tasks. We have to sometimes spend time for ourselves. sometimes spend time for others. Remove non-essential activities. You should focus on your objective and goals. Don't forget what's your plan and what you do. Because time is very precious and sometimes I'm very speechless about the time. You spend time a lot and you are working for the future. But this current moment, you are enjoying, you are spending your time. Leave it, all kind of activities. Just focus this time, this single moment. You should enjoy this time. It doesn't matter where are you here, we are spending time, which kind of activities you are busy right now. I heard many times, okay, I don't have time. Yes, exactly. Similarly, I say to sometimes, okay, I don't have time, I can't do this. But it's not good for us. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Everybody has
Yes.
Toastmaster Ali, how can you remove this sharing? Okay, stop sharing.
Let me take back the overflight.
Everyone is qualified.
You can ask yourself the reason why.
Okay. Timer, is everyone is qualified? Yeah, it is.
What about answer?
Yeah, yes. His project timing was 10 to 12 minutes, and he had on 8 minutes and 19 seconds. So over to the president is we should consider him as qualified or not. This allotted time is 10 to 12
Minimum time.
and he spoke for 8 minutes and 19 seconds.
This qualified.
So, unfortunately, we have one disqualification. So,
Voting will be shown after.
I would like to make one intervention. Those people who are speaking from beach luxury, their voice is so weak. Said, we are putting extra pressure on our mind in order to comprehend what you people are saying.
It seems like Ali Ashur is not feeling well. That's why he's not able to speak loudly.
actually, I want you to something. It's a strategy that if you want to hear, you should come here.
Reason behind Ali Ashur wants everyone to join us at Beach Luxury Hotel so that you can hear us loud and clear.
What should I do?
So, what should you do? So,
No.
as you are the master, so now you have the power to call anyone from this room or and from your Zoom screen, and he has to say something on the topic. So, in a huge round of applause, I would like to invite Toastmaster Wahid Bahar, who is a very dedicated Toastmaster, and he is going to conduct our second session of table topic experience. Over to you, Toastmaster Wahid Bahar. A huge round of applause.
Okay, thank you. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you're perfectly audible and
Okay, thank you. Well, I wish it was either an online meeting or I was there in the meeting in person, because otherwise I should carry out the project of active speaker, not the active listener, because the audio voice is very low. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, good evening. One of the most exciting portions of the Toastmaster meetings is the table topics session. The main objective is to challenge members to develop their impromptu communications skills, to effectively think on their feet questions. We also want to give every member the opportunity to speak at the meeting. We do this with the table topics session. Table topics is specifically designed to develop 4 essential communication skills. The first one is listening, the second one is thinking, the third one is organizing, and the fourth one is speaking. Today, as your table topics master, I will be asking questions related to our meeting's theme, the hope sustains. Your response must be at least 1 minute and can be no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I also encourage you to use the phrase of the day, which is build back later. So let's get started. Who wants to be the first? Nobody? Okay, I'd like to ask TM Weishan. Okay, TM Weishan, actions. Well, I will say a proverb, a saying, or a quote, and then you need to elaborate or talk about that topic. Actions speak louder than words. What do you think about the saying? Have you ever faced a situation that reminds you of this saying? Actions speak louder than words. Weishan, the stage is all yours.
Actions speak louder than words. I think I've heard this many times. I think we've all heard it many times, but sometimes we forget how true it really is. A lot of times you will interact with someone who they might not give you appreciation by words, but they'll do it by an action. A simple thumbs up can go a long way. And oftentimes just even a smile can go a long way. In our religious teaching, a smile is considered an act of charity, and sometimes I think as a society, we fail to appreciate this, myself included. In fact, I'm guilty of this because I'm always poker faced, so almost all the time. Sadly. But no, it's something we can all work on, and I totally agree with it that actions do speak louder than words. A smile is just, it takes, I can't remember how many muscles is a smile, but it can change someone's day. And if if I smile to you and you smile to him, it's a chain reaction. And by the end of the day, when you go to bed, you'll still have a smile on your face. Thank you.
please unmute yourself. Sponsor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. TM Weishan. You were speaking, you were referring to the religious facts and that actions has been mentioned and emphatically in our religion that we should do more actions than talking. And also in your speech, you gave an example that, for example, smiling is a good gesture, but when doing good things for people is much better, as far as I understood. Okay, the next speaker, I'd like to call Shamam Khan, TM Shamam Khan. If
Mom is not, she just left. You can go to Toastmaster Ghulam Khan.
okay.
Yes, tabletop master.
Okay. The second topic is that hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. This is an English proverb. How do you hope for the best and expect the worst in your mental and physical life? Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And how do you apply it in your life? The stage is yours.
Tabletop master and fellow Toastmasters. It's this proverb we have been listening since we were little bit in the childhood, especially from our teachers, that you need to prepare for the worst and prepare for the best and expect the worst, or prepare for the worst and expect the best. What is the proverb?
Prepare for the best and expect for the
Prepare for the best and expect the worst.
expect for the best.
Expect for the worst. Okay. So yes, as I was mentioning, that
Hope for the
since
best
I
and prepare
tried,
for the
yes, yeah, hope for the
Hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
prepare for the best. Okay, so this happens when you are spontaneously being called on the stage after a gap of 2 months. That you have still you're trying to figure out what's the table topic. So hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So this is the topic. Yeah. So
Yes.
what we need to do as a Toastmaster, as a professional, or as a student, or whatever role we are in, that in life, if we want to achieve something good, and if we want to end up with some real good results, always keep your expectation on a lower level. But this does not mean that you do not put in your effort. You need to give your more than 100%, whatever role you are in. For if you are a student, let's assume you are a student, and there are exams which are coming up. If you would not prepare, the results will absolutely failure and disaster. So what you need to do as a student, give your 100%. Let's change the role and let's switch on to as a professional. So even if you are in a professional life, what the results will be coming after a year or so when you'll be appraised. So for a professional, your appraisal year may be starting from January and ends up at December, maybe for some individuals starts from July, ends up in June. Give your 100% right from the word go, from the very first month. Give your best and the best so that, but expect a little low. Because there are certain individuals which I've seen, especially the students, that they say that we had done a good job, and but the result, the end grades are not up to the mark. So if they would keep the expectation on the lower side, they would be happy, they would be contented, they would be satisfied. So my advice to all of you, in whatever role you are, prepare for the best and Expect hope for the best and expect the worst.
This is
Over to you.
Okay, thank you.
this was an example.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ghulam Qadir, TM Ghulam Qadir, if I'm right. You were saying that you have been hearing this proverb repeatedly from your school years or from your childhood, sometimes maybe using it, sometimes not. So there was a misconceptions of expecting the best and the worst. Okay, it was exactly hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. This was the English proverb. Then you suggested the members that we should do our best and prepare ourselves for the disasters in future. And this we can apply also for our projects, for our education, and all the responsibilities that we shoulder in life. Thank you for that. That was really amazing. I enjoyed it. And the next person I want to call on the stage is Ali Fayyaz as a guest. Okay. Thank you, Ali Fayyaz, that you have come to a stage. I'm going to give you a broader topic so that you could apply the proverb on the broader perspective. The proverb is that he who lives on hope dies of hunger. Reflecting on this German proverb, what comes to your mind about the current global issues which are threatening our species, the mankind? He who lives on hope dies of hunger. The stage is all yours.
He who lives on hope dies on hunger. He who lives on hope dies on hunger. No worries if you don't know, just
Whatever is in your head, just
go for it.
First of all, I was not expecting that I would be invited for this session.
Okay.
I am not able to understand. I am confused.
You can talk about hope in your life, generally.
What is hope? What do you mean by hope?
Yes. Hope is very essential to us. Hope gives us motivation. When there is a hope, we do effort we do our best to achieve that thing. If there is no hope, we would be demotivated. We would think that there is no reason to do the effort regarding this achievement. So hope is really important in our life, and our religion also tell us to always hope for the best, and always it gives the faith that there is Allah who will make our things better, and we also guide to our kids that there is always a good time after bad time. So if there is a currently is a bad time, and do hope that there would be a good time, and you in the end you will you will forget that there would be a bad time. Okay, thank you.
That was really great. Thank you. Mr. Fayyaz, we hope that you are going to be a member of this Toastmaster Club. I have given a topic to TM Diana already. Now I would like to call Mariam Aftab.
Toastmaster Mariam, are
Hi.
you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Mariam, thank you for participating. Well, the proverb or the saying is that after all, tomorrow is another day. Looking into the eyes of colleagues, students, and friends, and finding despair and hopelessness, how do you explain to them that after all, tomorrow is another day? The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. New challenges, new time, new hopes will always arrive. Well, with the new sunshines, there comes a new day. New challenges definitely are on your ways. But that depends on you, how you go to that. Do you want to take all your burdens, worries, forward it to the next day, or you want to start it all over? Start anew, fresh. Start a new day with all the hopes to move forward, not to look back, and solve all your problems with a new start, new mindset, and positivity. Yes, always remember, you have tomorrow, but that tomorrow will be turned into today and later on in past. So that depends on you, how you want to spend your tomorrow, your present, so that you might get a better future. I would definitely like to collect my colleagues, brief them around, to give them motivation and courage to face the challenge with a positive mind. When you are in office, every day is a different day, sometimes better, sometimes worse than the previous one, because of the challenges of the environment, because of some people. There are different things that are associated with it. But yes, that depends on you, how you take it. It's up to you, what you see, how you perceive, what you want to do, and to move forward with that. I would like to tell this to everyone, not only my colleague, but there is a chance. When it comes on tomorrow, means there's a chance for you to shine, move forward, to see the positivity, and take up the new challenge in a new way. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you, Mariam Aftab, and thank you for your inspiring speech regarding the proverb. First of all, I should also say thank you to Fayyaz again, because I didn't mention the points that he was mentioning in his speech, that the motivation, hope is a motivation which works as something to push us forward, to give us something to be hanged upon, to be sticking to that and going forward. So it is really important in everyday life. And referring back to Tia Mariam Aftab, she was mentioning that when there are new challenges, there are also new shines every day, new sunshines every day. So every sunshine would bring new hopes for the people, but it all depends to the people who are using these opportunities or not. So she was saying that I would encourage not my colleagues, but everybody, that there are new tomorrows, but don't look backward. And thank you again, Mariam Aftab. I think my time is finished. Is there any time to call somebody else, or I have to wrap it up?
It would be good that you can wrap up your table topic session.
Okay, thanks to everyone who participated. Now I'll return control to the Toastmaster of the day. But before that, I would like to ask the timer that if everybody is qualified or not.
Everyone was qualified except Ghulam Khatir. Ghulam Khatir. 3 minutes and 34 seconds, so it's up to game to let us play. 34 seconds.
Okay, thank you. But
Disqualified.
No. He can be qualified. On the score.
okay, thank you. There's a writing from Toastmaster Diana. Build back the world is my little build up that speaks as better building to better in my speak in my life. This Toastmaster Club in world build better. My way is that the Toastmaster look forward in letter or build better. So that's from her side. Thank you, Diana, for participating. Well, Hafiz says, یوسف گمگشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور کلبه احزان شود روزی گلستان غم مخور. This is a Persian poem. The first line.
Could you please
Okay, I will translate it also. یوسف گمگشته باز آید به کنعان غم مخور کلبه احزان you say احزان کلبه احزان شود روزی گلستان غم مخور. The lost Yusuf will return to Canaan. Don't be sorrowful. The house which was full of sorrow will turn into a garden one day. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster.
Mute.
repeat it again?
Okay, I have to repeat all the things again. So Toastmaster, right, you just did an amazing job, and you engage every one of us in that, and your topics was aligned with the theme of the meeting, and I just loved it how you just ended with a splendid verses from the Persian, and when you translate them, it was amazing. So now it's time for the
Do we have detailed Tarma with us? I saw him. Yes, he's here.
we have our speaker.
Yes.
So all the Toastmasters and guests, be ready to mesmerize and astonish. And today, again, like every meeting or every second meeting, the DDM, Talha bin Hamid is going to speak, and he is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar. I would love to ask and call Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar, and I love this duo for a reason. Toastmaster Asghar and DTM Talha. So over to you, Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you very much. Our last and fifth speaker, which we left in halfway, is DTM Talha bin Hamid. And today, DTM Talha bin Hamid is going to speak from Effective Coaching Level 3. Reaching Consensus is a project, and the title of today's speech is Increasing Member Engagement. Now, DTM Talha was supposed to work with a group to practice reaching consensus on any topic, and we are expecting him to deliver the speech around this activity. Over to you, DTM Talha.
Thank you so much. Just to brief about the project. First, I'm supposed to host a discussion of about 20 minutes towards building the consensus. And then I'll brief the club about what they just witnessed. And that will be 2 to 3 minutes. So congratulations, you're in for a 23-minute project, everyone. So, and it's not a keynote by Toastmaster Asghar or a story of lost love by DTM Ali Escher. I'm sorry about that. It promises to be quite dry. So before I start, I'd like to enroll in my discussion team, Toastmaster Asghar, DTM Ali, and DTM Sarfraz. And who is there at the Beach Luxury Hotel? Who can I have the names of the people there? I would like to enroll one person from there. Hello? Anyone? Who is there at Beach Luxury Hotel? There's your consensus right here.
Okay, we have Toastmaster.
Sorry.
Toastmaster Heba
Yeah.
and Mufaddal. And we have DTM Maniash Ranjan.
All right. So I'd like to enlist Toastmaster Heba from Beach Luxury Hotel. Is that okay?
She's ready.
Yes, she's ready. Always ready.
Yeah, always ready. So please start my timing now. I'll first make a brief introduction and then work towards building the consensus. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for being part of this discussion. I hope to achieve quite a bit through this discussion towards problem solving and also enhancing the quality of our club and clubs in general. Thank you for joining me for this discussion and thank you for your time. So today what we are doing is we are trying to build a consensus towards working out one or two major approaches towards increasing member engagement in a club. And member engagement covers everything from taking up speeches and meeting roles and also being responsive towards club communications. We all know that every meeting is a major event that has to be arranged. A meeting happens, it goes through, speeches are made, evaluations are done, the meeting concludes, and then each and every club on the planet is back to square one. Each and every club is supposed to build back better from that point onwards. Our aim is to have each and every meeting better than the last one. And that should be the aim, not for every club, but also for every Toastmaster. Their involvement in the meeting, their quality of speech should also be better than what they did last time. So I will present a few problems that we face. And those of us who are or have been club officers are very familiar with these problems. First of all, arranging meetings is not as easy as it should be it a small club or a large club like Karachi Toastmasters Club. Most of the members are involved and they are responsive, but there's a large chunk in every club that is not as responsive as they should be. And there is a myriad of reasons behind that. One reason is that while WhatsApp is the dominant platform for communication, it's not ideal. Messages can pile up really fast. And when someone is trying to work through their WhatsApp groups, their family groups, their work groups, their friends groups, their acquaintances groups, and random messages from strangers telling them how the world is about to end, it is perfectly understandable that they might not want to take a look at the messages from their respective club. So that is problem number one, how to communicate and reach out. Secondly, the problem is responses. Many members respond and they respond that they will take up a role or a speech or anything. And only a few respond that they will not be able to attend. And that is a major problem because see, we are not forcing anyone to attend the meeting. What we are requesting everyone is that we should at least know what they plan to do about the upcoming meeting. And there are some people, most people, especially online here in this group, are very, very studious about informing that they will not be able to attend a meeting. And I applaud them for that. So that's the second problem. And these two problems actually compound towards making the life of a VP education miserable because every meeting is a start from zero. Frustratingly, even with a club that has a momentum and worldwide stature like Karachi Toastmasters Club, it is no different from any other club as far as meeting arrangement is concerned after one meeting has ended. So I have stated the problems and I need your valuable opinions, and I will request all of the participants to limit their responses to 1 to 2 minutes. So first, I would like to ask Toastmaster Asghar, what could be the solution? And please, everyone is requested to answer in the context of clubs in general, Toastmasters clubs in general, not in the context of Karachi Toastmasters Club, because we have so many people here who are involved with other clubs. And this discussion should be valuable for all those club officers, not just KTC members. Over to you, Toastmaster Asghar.
Thank you, DTM Tala. I think to begin with, I see things in such a way that all those non-profit organizations are suffering at least one issue. What they commonly call the tragedy of commons. I'm sorry if I'm wrong and I'm not able to use it in a proper way. What I mean is that we believe that we all equally responsible for one thing, and someone somehow is doing this. So we tend to drag our feet, and we let the other people, a couple of people, do or take this responsibility. Number one. Number two, those who are coming in the Toastmasters, I think they somehow have a conviction that they are the one who are here to learn for themselves, for himself or herself. They are not there to build the club or give it any, a positive directions. Thirdly, I think somehow that we are from very different backgrounds. I mean, we are from the research side, from working from the private sector, working in public sectors. They are all coming with their own baggages, and they somehow could not, surmount them to or recover from their issues in order to make it or in order to allocate a considerable amount of time what they should do towards the strengthening of Toastmaster Club. But let me conclude it in this way. Perhaps one of the reasons is we are not sensitized enough, regardless of our background knowledge or our age, that this organization is equal for all of us. It is not being run by a couple of the people and the rest of them are merely participant or there to improve themselves. I think this is perhaps one of the conclusion that I can draw from your comments. Over to you, DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asghar. I think you have summarized some of the reasons behind this very beautifully. And I will pose the same question to DTM Sarfraz. As Toastmaster Asghar rightly pointed out, that many people are just there as individuals. And precisely because of some individuals who are dedicated towards the community and take up the responsibility for everything, some other individuals just act in precisely that capacity, that is individual and not towards the community. So what could be the best way to instill that community spirit in a larger number of members so that the load is shared?
Thank you, DTM Talha. Here are a few suggestions. As you mentioned that it's a difficult task for the Vice President of Education if people do not sign up for roles. Even though very few times I've seen somebody post in KTC WhatsApp, hey, I'm going to be absent, I won't be able to make this meeting. How about the spreadsheet or schedule that's sent out? On the bottom has absent, 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 a few rows, so people can put in their name that, hey, I'm going to be absent. Then the most fear of VP education is that we might not have enough speakers. So we need to add another role, backup speaker. And it's not necessary to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If 5 people attend the meeting, 1 or 2 give a speech, that's fine. This will become a problem only if every meeting starts to become where only you have 1 or 2 speakers. Then there should be another role, hot seat. That's the person who volunteers and they're willing to take any role before the start of the meeting if someone does not show up. There could be a speaker, general evaluator, table topics master, or table topics evaluator. Then one thing that we can do is few active members, club officers, there are 7 officers, and few active Toastmasters are not officers. So let's say we have 10 or 12 people, including officers. Assign them few of the members to each of these 10 people or 12 persons. They're responsible for keeping up because you do not expect the VP education to keep up with every member in the club. So if you assign me 5 names, it's my job to encourage them. Hey, it's been 6 weeks, it's been 8 weeks that I have not heard a speech. Oh, how are you coming along? You need any help? So it's easy for me to keep up with 5 or 6 persons. If 10 of us have 3 or 4 names, that's 30, 40 people that we're keeping up. That might help. Back to you, distinguished Toastmaster Talha.
Thank you so much. I love the idea of the hot seat, and I believe I'll go ahead with that. About the other proposals that you made, unfortunately, all of those have been tried and are being tried even now. But sometimes, in fact, most of the time,
DTM Talha, we've lost you, your audio.
Somehow you are not clearly audible. No, you're not audible.
He should try to reconnect.
If it's convenient, could you please try to reconnect? You are not audible.
Radio doesn't have.
You can see the red stars.
Yeah. I guess we need this.
Bad.
How much time?
30. Should I stop?
Yes. Could you please turn on your video or unmute yourself?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
All right, that's great. So my next question would be to someone who is in the hot seat right now, Toastmaster Hiba, our president. Toastmaster Hiba, are you here?
Yes, she's coming.
All right. So Toastmaster Hiba, my question to you is, how, since we are here to develop a consensus, there were some excellent ideas mentioned by DTM Sarfaraz. So how do you propose we take them forward as club officers, and not only in KTC, but in any club? How do we implement them?
To be honest, I wasn't listening to them at all because I have my head stuck in the three things already. So I'm so
All
sorry.
right.
I cannot respond to your question at all.
No
Because I'm
problem, no
not-
problem. We will move on to our next panelist then. I think it was DTM Ali. You were one of the panelists, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So DTM Ali, how do we move forward with these ideas?
Okay.
Could you please repeat your question?
Yes, please repeat the question.
My question is, how do we move forward with DTM Sarfaraz's ideas?
So
Further, if you recall Toastmaster Asgar's input, the reasons that he mentioned, how do we address them? So both questions to you.
So I'm just starting from an organization perspective, which is a volunteer organization. So what are the driving force of that volunteer organization? Their mission, their purpose, and if the mission and vision of that organization is aligned with the members and the ex-form and all the people, so the organization is going to run smoothly. But if the members' mission or purpose is different from the organization, then this is a first indication of the truth. And it's happened when in the various organizations, that when the founder of the organization was no more. So then those organization was failing to achieve their missions. So I think what we need to do is to highlight the purpose and align it with the members, which is to improve the communication skills towards the leadership. If why we are the top club for last 2 years, there is a reason.
Last 3 years.
Yes, last 3 years, because our members want that KTC should be on top, and that's a reason, and that's why we are. Why if KTC members are involved in leadership roles? Because we have a mission that Pakistan should be a district, and due to those things, we know that with attending the meetings, and taking the roles, giving speeches are the single steps towards the district. But sometimes it's happened that when you are on the top, then you have nothing to achieve, and that's we call middle age crisis, or something like Virat Kohli, that he was on the top, and then for last 3 years he was doing nothing, because he has already achieved those things. So what we need to do is to revise some things, and that would be the more captivating for the members to come and deliver speeches. Second thing, the ownership thing. Yes. Okay. The ownership thing, that a person on a hot seat or something. Usually, it seems that in a volunteer or organization, there are some people around them. The whole organization was working, but it is not a right thing to do this. They have to create their successors and delegate them things. Okay, there might be trouble for a short run, but in a long run, it would be a fruitful thing. What we can do.
Thank you, DTM. Sorry, I just saw your own green card, so I have to now move towards the conclusion. Thank you so much for your input, DTM Ali. And so far, what we have discussed is, first of all, the reasons why members don't get as involved as we'd like them to be, and the reasons very eloquently put by Toastmaster Asghar. And I believe he just summarized everything so beautifully when he said that many members are just there for personal growth and very few are towards actually serving the community. And then we moved to DTM Sarfraz and we asked him, how do we address these issues? And he suggested a spate of great ideas. Some of them we are already trying to do, but not achieving. And that is that distributing the members list among ExCom officers and asking them to follow up. I have done that. That's not happening. Secondly, the hot seat idea is absolutely fantastic. We will surely implement that. The third is that we will have backup speakers. We do have backup speaker slots, but perhaps they are not that as prominent as they should be on the sheet. And finally, we move on to DTM Aliasha. And he very eloquently brought us back to purpose, the purpose of the organization, the purpose why we are running this club, the purpose why we are running any club in Pakistan. And they're not one and the same. And that's the most beautiful part. The purpose of Toastmasters is to be a community that helps each other enhance each other's communication and leadership skills. When we put that in the context of what our country needs right now, it becomes far greater in importance, because our country and people in our country, first of all, need to learn to communicate with each other constructively and politely. Secondly, discourse should be tolerant and meaningful. And that is something I've always personally upheld, that we are not just doing Toastmasters in Pakistan because it should be a district on the world map. We are doing Toastmasters in Pakistan because we want to upgrade the communication in Pakistan and extract all of us from this endless spiral of pain and misery that we inflict upon ourselves through social media, through television, through radio, through newspapers. And so again, the talk was brought back to purpose. And with that, I thank all the participants. And I end the consensus part here. And I will just move on now to my, thankfully, 2 to 3 minute speech about what we just achieved. So what we discussed was a set of problems that is faced by each and every club officer, not only in Pakistan, but around the world. And we decided upon that, yes, there were the problems. First of all, we reach a consensus on the root cause. The root cause is that some members are just there for personal growth. And of course, it's their full right. But we need to have more members who are there to serve the community. And taking that point from Toastmaster Asghar, we moved on to DTM Sarfaraz, who told us ways to involve the community more. And all of those were excellent ideas. And then how to do it, we moved on to DTM Aliasha. So we all agreed upon the root cause of the problem. And by the way, those are some very valuable insights that we all had today about the root cause. I personally witnessed some really fresh angle on the whole situation, thanks to you guys. And we also witnessed some very good ways to address them. But above all was the aspirational aspect, where DTM Ali told us that we should keep our purpose paramount, purpose behind the discipline, purpose behind the district, and purpose behind the club. They can be aligned, they can be different, but they need to be continuously reinforced. And that is how you kindle the fire in others. The reason we are all active right now, we are all in this discussion, in this meeting, is because we not only care for ourselves, but we care for others. And we have a deep down desire to give back to the community what we have gained from it. This fire needs to be transferred to others as well. And that will only be transferred when we tell them clearly that the purpose of Toastmasters is not just to take what you can and walk away, but the purpose of Toastmasters, or for any volunteer organization, or really for any of us' existence on this planet, is to try to give back as much as we can. So once again, after every meeting, after every event in life, after every disaster, after every trying times, we need to stand together and build back better. Thank you so much, everyone, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, DDM Talha, for your wonderful session and very thought-provoking things we discussed today. And that's a thing that the hopes here where the hope sustains. That it is not just we are just hoping. There are lots more people who are hoping for the better communication. And might be you are the one who are going to fulfill their hopes. And this is your power. By volunteering, by service. So you can do these things. Or might be this is your responsibility. They are praying to God, but through you, their wish are fulfilled just because you take the responsibility and do the service. So now let's move towards yes. As are all prepared speakers are qualified except one. Toastmaster. Yes. Except Toastmaster as here everyone is qualified. Our speakers are DTM Silfaraz, Toastmaster Ramzan Redwala, Toastmaster Mohammad Asghar is qualified, Toastmaster Mohammad Azhar Khan, and DTM Talha bin Hamid. Now all are requested to vote for the best speaker. And who is a good partner? Yes. Okay, so I will float the vote in a while. Now let's move towards the next segment, and that is of general evaluation. And for that, I would like to invite Toastmaster himself.
I would request all the evaluators to share their score about this speech, about how the speech adheres to its objectives. You can send your message directly to me.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. In order to achieve growth in our life, it is extremely important that we know where we lack and what is our weakness and where we are wrong. Knowing your mistakes and your weaknesses and your flaws and admitting them is the first step towards growth. If we are not even aware about what my mistake is, then how am I supposed to rectify that? I don't even know where was I wrong, let alone I will be correcting myself. Just like DTM Talha discussed the whole scenario, I will not be repeating that because we are all aware about that. So it is extremely important that we ask ourselves that whatever happened, are we responsible negatively for that? Did that happen because of our even partial? We are even partially responsible for that. If yes, then we should rectify ourselves and we should promise and even we should make a commitment that we will not let that happen again. I will add a quote here about the feedback. Now, what is the feedback? Just I discussed about we have to know that where we are wrong. It is extremely important. But how do we know? Just like DTM Talha, he provided his feedback. He provided his evaluation, whatever he was feeling, he had been feeling for some days. He discussed. So with that feedback and evaluation, we are aware to know that what has been happening around the club for some days, I mean for some months, because only the executive community is aware about that. So feedback enables us and allows us to understand where we are wrong. Sometimes it happens, it is naturally that we take our feedback personally, but always remember that if you are taking it personally and not to grow yourselves, not as something which is a push towards you, let's see your mistakes and grow. Your feedback is nothing. Your evaluator he has just simply did nothing. I mean, he did everything from his side, but you have wasted all that. So feedback is really very important. I will add a quote here. The quote is by Doc Rivers. He is an American professional basketball coach. He says that average players want to be left alone, and good players want to be coached, but great players want to be told the truth, because truth is what matters to them, even if it is against them. I will now move ahead. I will now move ahead with journal evaluation session and describe and introduce to you. The journal evaluation session is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we are going to have evaluation for the prepared speeches. And in the second part, we will be having evaluation for the table topics by calling the table topic evaluator. And in the last part, I will be calling the facilitators, the counter grammarian, and the timer to report their findings. So now please allow me to start our first part of the session. For that, I would like to invite who's the first speaker? Okay, so our first speaker was VDM Sarfaz Nazir, and to evaluate him, I would like to call VDM Addition to please come up on the stage.
Thank you so much, General. So, the most useful speaker of right now, EDM sub-process. Forgive or forget. Starting from the Toy Story, then Shabnam, then those 32 years, and you just amazing. Your expression, your body language, and you just figure in those 7 minutes and exactly 30 seconds. You were just mesmerized. And what you did was something amazing. First, you broke and then you joined. In between whatever we have in our head about forget and forgive, you just shattered all those things and then built your story upon them, and that's built a sort of curiosity among us. And I think that was an amazing master class by the finest Toastmaster on this planet. Your eye contact, your body language, your facial expression were just flawless. Yes, your story building was amazing. That how you just start from a reference of the Toy Story and hook all of us in that thing, and then just to build it upon. It was a smart move from any Toastmaster. You have in your speech, you always have a hint, and this time, and if we find it humorous, and it was wonderfully knitted in your speech. And the things where you can improve. when you start, I find that there was a little low effort. You can start with some drama and something, doing something that was something energetic. Your vocal writing was amazing. Especially if I love the conversations. However, you can add more vocal writing over there and a stage movement. I find that you have some space on the left and right, and you can use them more smartly. All in all, it was an amazing speech, and as I already said, that you always mesmerize and astound us, and you did exactly what I said. So thank you so much for
Thank you so much, PDM Agri, for your wonderful evaluation and detailed feedback. Our next prepared speaker was TM Ramzan Pitwala, and to evaluate him, I would like to call TM Mohammed Nurullah. Please come and evaluate. Thank you very much, General Evaluator, for giving me the opportunity to evaluate TM Ramzan. TM Ramzan, what a wonderful speech. I really enjoyed your speech. I believe everyone over here enjoyed your speech. You started with the word startup, in which you first explained the purpose that these startups, what we see as an audience, are not the things in which it goes away. We see startup as a success in news, but there are lots of efforts in which people, they put up their dark days, their rainy days, the cry, the efforts, the restlessness, they make up and then they come to the news. But we only see that, oh wow, they have made so much money and it's so easy. And that's why everybody just jumps into it without thinking, and they give up very early. Your speech was divided into main three parts, in which the first part was that when you explained your story in which you started a business, you delivered the first project, there were mistakes, and then you rectified your mistakes, how you and your co-founder worked for 3 hours. I guess you mentioned that you were roaming for 3 hours for delivering those projects on the roads, and then you ended up with some success. And then you also compared it with the corporate jobs, that in corporate jobs, normally people get their good salary, they don't think about growing much, and in startup, they have to give up that good salary and turn up themselves to something which will not give them that good salary in the initial stages, but believing themselves and thinking to create an impact for the generations which will be benefited ahead. And then in the ending portion, you actually related your title with the whole speech, having a blind faith. That once you have thought about something, you should have firm determination. You should have firm determination in your dreams, and you should believe in that. And once you get into it, you should achieve that. I really like one of the lines. I really liked it. I don't know if it was your creation or you quoted it from somewhere. That failure is your skill set. The only room of improvement which I felt was that you were sitting and you were giving your speech, you were feeling that there was a lot of energy which would have come up, and then eventually if you would have used your stage effectively, you would have given more impact to your speech. Over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you, Master Faddal, for your cordial and candid feedback. Okay, so our third speaker was Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar, and to evaluate him, I would like to call PM Imran Nana.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Mohammed Muzammil. I'm sure I'm audible and visible to the virtual audience. Yes. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar delivered a level 5 project, lesson learned. What I like about Toastmaster Asghar's speech that he, in the beginning, he gave us the background of his previous speech and well connected with the current speech, in which the project was about the disaster, about the earthquake disaster. So it was quite good. Today I found Toastmaster Asghar, your confidence level was quite amazing. You were using the stage quite wisely and your hand gestures were perfectly aligned with your speech. During the speech, you spoke quite much. I would suggest that if you could come up with some slides, so that it is quite difficult to observe a lot of content. So that content could be put on the slideshow and which could be easily grasped or consumed by the audience. You highlighted the achievements, what you achieved during the project, and you also mentioned the barriers. That was the main requirement of this project. Today we found Toastmaster Asghar, since you are well known about your crisp humor, today we didn't find that humor in your speech. Since you are giving your speech in Zoom background, so your eye contact was not aligned. You need to invest and try to buy a camera and a camera stand so that you have a better eye contact. You use the phrase of the day quite well, and that was quite interesting. And the strong point of your speech was about your beautiful sentences, which you always use in your speeches. The only area of suggestion which I would like to suggest that if that information today, your content was quite too much. If you could have used some slides so that you could have the audience could grasp it. Overall, it was a successful project. But one more thing, since your time was 8 minutes, so you need to work upon that. Overall, it was perfectly fine. With that, I would like to hand over the charge back to General Evaluator. I'm also disqualified.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nana, for detailed feedback. Okay, so our next speaker was Toastmaster Muhammad Azhar Khan, and to evaluate him, I would like to call our Toastmaster Chief Imam Khan.
Toastmaster Azhar, your project was level 3 of the pathway dynamic leadership. So let me start with how you started your speech. And you started with a very good technique, which most of the speakers like us start. That is, at the start of the speech, you engage the audience. Now, how do you engage the audience? Is by throwing a question. And that's the best technique which every speaker do at times. Especially, this is a technique when we have got a little bit of content. Because the time is 5 to 7 minutes. And if we do not have the ample content to complete those 5 minutes, we take good 1 minute of the start of the speech, we throw few questions initially, we engage the audience, then we get one answer. And then one after we ask another question to another audience. So that was the technique. And your question was, what is time? Which was the title of the speech as well. So that was a very good technique which I observed. and full credit to you. Another best part of your speech was the use of very good phrases and poetry. Either it was a poetry, either it was a phrases, but I really liked it, and I would like to recap a few of those phrases. Time is slow when we are waiting. Time is fast when you are late. Time is deadly when you are sad. Time is short when you're happy. So I really like these phrases, and they could connect as to what is the time. Then another thing which I noticed in your speech was the background pictures. Those pictures were very eye-catching. So starting from the watch, which you showed, and there was a certain clock, and then there was a man who was trying to fix some time or not. But there are always areas of improvements. So, you know what will be the first one? You were sitting and giving the speech. So I was not able to see your body language. I was not able to see your hands, the gesture which I'm making right now. I was not able to see your stage movements. So this was, so no word, I cannot comment on your body language. Secondly, and the last, very important, your project was creating effective visual aids. Yes, those pictures were very nice to have it, but I could not see any connection between what you were saying and those pictures. So in future, if you have to use the visual aids, don't just use it. Just try to make some sort of connection, and then you will be able to communicate and give a good speech. Over to you, table topic. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Glam Qadir, for your amicable feedback. I would like to call upon now Toastmaster Mohammad Asghar to please evaluate the DTM Tala with
Thank you. Thank you very much. DTM Tala had 23 minutes to speak, and I have only perhaps 2.5 minutes to review his speech. But let me try to cover it. The speech delivered by DTM Tala, it was basically a panel discussion with an objective to work with a group to practice reaching consensus on any topic. And topic was all about to work out the approaches and in order to increase the membership of Toastmaster Club. I think the speech of the project was in two parts. The number one was the discussion part, and number two, the consensus part. And what I like in DTM Tala's speech is as skills, as a facilitator by keeping on task. I mean, discussing the various approaches, and that too within a time frame. That is what the project says are important. Secondly, the way DTM Tala progress towards the consensus. I mean, rather than allowing the panelists to repeat themselves or repeat one another, priming the audience or pushing them towards the consensus is one of the difficult job that we usually found. Thirdly, the way, I mean, DTM Tala's inclusive, supportive leadership qualities. I mean, giving the equal time to all the participants and then valuing all ideas by, I mean, it is one thing to generalize things, and it is another thing to specifically mention the name of your speaker by summarizing your ideas or ideas of all three speakers. It good to hear that. And now what made all the panelists happy or energized or recognized is the way you valued their input, not only valued their input, but tied them into your own conclusion while making your concluding remarks over the all issues or the subjects. I think the whole session would have been better if participant informed prior to the discussion. Secondly, the technology disruption is more painful when the session is interactive. Believe me, I just felt it. And above all, it was a man-made. DTM Tala could have avoided it. Overall, it was a productive project, and DTM Tala successfully achieved his objectives. Best wishes for him. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day, General Evaluator. Everyone is mute.
I think they were enjoying listening to you, Toastmaster Asghar.
Well, but I formally declared the ending of my.
I guess they're expecting a 23-minute response to a 23-minute speech.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mohammed Asghar, for your evaluation. Okay, so here comes our first part of the general evaluation session, and before moving on towards the second part, I would like to ask the timer.
Aren't they supposed to, after listening to no,
Okay, okay, so I would like to ask the board founder to please launch a polling board for the best prepared, best evaluator.
Done.
Okay, so now let's move on towards our next or the second part of our evaluation session. It is about the table topics evaluation, and to comment this, I would like to call our table topic evaluator, which is Toastmaster Farid Khan, to please come up on the stage.
fellow Toastmasters and guests, since we am barred for doing after making comments for that. Evaluation, then how does this go? You had an interesting table topics. You had interesting table topics upon which the speaker spoke. During the time you spoke, you had good clarity, and I found you quite confident. You had good eye contact during the time you spoke, and I found you constantly looking at the camera. There was good comfort level, and I could detect no signs of nervousness or hesitation. And the audience, you audience as well as you were thoroughly engaged in what the speakers were speaking about. Okay, now. The table topic evaluation. So the first speaker was CM Vishan Aziz. He had good hand and body movement and good fluency of speech. However, he did not cover the speaking area well because he was quite stiff, and he could have had better eye contact as he was constantly looking straight. And more flexible body from his part was required. And he had a poker face, like he said, he could have smiled a bit more. PM Ghulam Khalid. He had good hand and body movement, good fluency of speech, good eye contact, and I found him constantly looking at the audience, and I could catch his eye as well. And he had a smiling face. However, he could have covered the speaking area more. Then guest Ali Fayaz. Good effort because you struggled a bit with the topic, and I like your hands in the pocket gesture. However, you could have improved upon your eye contact. You could have, looked at the audience a bit more from this side to this side. And you could have covered the speaking area a bit more. And your body could have, since this was your first time, however, you could have had a bit of more flexible body. You could have made your body more flexible and however, the last speaker was Mariam Aftab Kidwai. We all know her as a very good table topic speaker. However, this time your camera was switched off, so I suppose that affected the other points which need to be emphasized during the table topic evaluation. However, there was good fluency of speech, like always, which everyone finds in your table topic. That's all.
Thank you so much, President Ivaris Khan, for your detailed, positive, and amicable evaluation. Now let's move on towards our third part of general evaluation session. And to start this, I would first like to call our facilitator, Timer, to please. Okay. So first of all, I would like to invite Toastmaster Imran Nana to report his findings as a grammarian.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Before giving my grammarian report, I was the word master as well. Today we didn't use. Today we had phrase of the day, and only 2 speakers used the phrase of the day in their prepared speeches. First one, DTM Sarfraz Nazir, and second one, DTM Talha bin Ahmed. Today I unable to find incorrect usage of grammar, just one. Someone said lots more people. So if S could be removed, it could be a lot more people. There were some great usages like hope is the motivation by Ali Fayaz, in white and black, and had the last laugh. These were the phrases used by Toastmaster Asghar. They were quite amazing. Someone used time is slow. Sorry, Toastmaster Asghar used time is slow, time is fast. They were quite amazing. Then we had a very good sentence used by Toastmaster Vishan, and that was poker face. Now I understand what is the meaning of poker face. So it was quite good. And there was another Kindle the Fire by DTM Talha. Know your mistakes is the first step towards growth. These were the amazing sentences used by the speakers. Overall, overall, as for the grammar part, the speakers, mashallah, quite good in their grammar. So that's all about it.
Thank you so much, grammarian Imran Nana. I would now like to call Timer to please come up on the stage and report about. Yes. Okay, for
The timer report, me and Ali Asher were doing together. Ali Asher was timing the online audience while I was timing the in-person audience. Everybody qualified in the prepared speeches except TM Asghar, who did a bit earlier. Other than that, in table topic, everybody qualified. And in the evaluations as well. In the evaluation.
Wasn't I disqualified?
No, you did 2 minutes and 52 seconds.
52.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Third, who is Lieutenant Sarfraz Nazir, to please report his findings.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator and fellow Toastmasters. This was a daunting task because when speakers were talking at Beach Luxury, many times there was audio interference, making it very difficult to understand the words being spoken. But here's a brief report from the yaw counter. DTM Ali Asher had 2 hours, 1 so. Toastmaster Wahid, 3 hours, 2 as, 2 so's, and when and Toastmaster Hiba had 1 hour, and in her speaking, she used the word however many times, which she could have started the sentence without adding however at the start. And she had 2 and ahs. Toastmaster Muzammil had 2 moreover, move, a double. Toastmaster Imran Rana had about 8 hours, 1 so, and a repeat with the. Toastmaster Mufazzal Murtaza, 2 hours, and then he had in your, and a few other repeats. Toastmaster Ramzan Printwala had 8 hours and several repeats, so, and, what. Toastmaster Muhammad Asghar had about 8 hours, 3 as, and a long and several repeats like 10 to, I am, for, in the, as, by, it was beyond, or. TTM Talha had 5 hours and 1 a, 4 so's. Toastmaster Azhar Khan repeats like time, just focus. Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir, 2 so's, 1 hour, and repeat. Ali Fayaz, 7 hours, 2 so's, repeat Dada, and TM Mariam Aftab did a fine job, not a single hour. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Sarfraz, for your detailed report. Okay, now let's call our facilitator, who is listener of today's meeting. We hope that the listener will refresh us and we feel tired. So now let me please invite our listener, who is President Ibarra.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters and guests below, what I'm here.
No.
Okay, who spoke? Am I visible to you?
Most of the
Physical audience.
No, but okay, fine. It was DTM Ali Asher. Dealing with all matter. Yes. We as human beings think as white and black. Yes. For startup is having a blind faith. Yes. Main objective of all startup.
You can shuffle.
Takes a knife and stabs you.
DTM Sarfaraz.
Yes. Kindle the fire in others. Yes. We had the last round. Yes. This was a daunting task. Yes. If we do not have ample content.
right?
Yes. You should have firm determination in your dreams.
PM Ramzan.
No.
Azhar.
No.
PTM Tala. Aliashan.
Yes. Such meetings cannot be overemphasized. I've stated the problem. No. Yes. We delivered the menu by ourselves.
Ramzan.
Yes. And you hear every Gen Z person. No. PM Ramzan friend power. That's about it. Overthinking is natural.
PM Ramzan.
No.
Talha bin Ahmed.
No. Sorry?
PM Azhar.
PM Asghar Ramza.
Yes.
Okay, so our third part of this session comes to an end. I would now ask the board founder to launch the polls for the best role player. I will be now reporting my findings about the meeting, how the meeting went. Were we on time? Are we on time? Or were there any unnecessary distractions which could have been avoided? So let's start with the meeting time. Our meeting time was supposed to 6:30 initially, but then we made it 6:45. Even then, we started our meeting at 6:47. Starting meeting late is something which has a lot of frequency to happen because we have not our personal space here at the hotel. So it happens sometimes we have a change in our room. So shifting things and instruments, equipment from one room to another can happen. So and it takes a lot of time. So we can manage our starting. Other than that, when we move ahead, we had commencement by Toastmaster of the evening. And as I saw in our agenda, it was supposed to have 5 minutes. But I noted and I timed it, and it took around 11 minutes, 38 seconds. So it is more than double. So if we just read our agenda and we try to confine our explanations and discussions and expressions in that time, so it would be much better. And then we had our first segment, prepared speeches. Our prepared speeches started at 7:08, and it went well. It actually balanced our timing, and it went absolutely well. And then we moved to our table topic session, and the table topic session was supposed to have 12 minutes if we see our agenda. But the table topic session took around 20 minutes, which is 8 minutes more. So these are some time issues which we should pay heed to and be mindful about. so that we start and our meeting on time.
You will be doing Diamond Rule in the next meeting.
Overall, if I summarize it, the starting needs to be improved, and in the middle we went well, and let's see how we end. Other than that, the meeting seemed very, I would say, normal, amicable, and there was also laughter in our meeting. But what I would say is, when there are a small number of speakers present in physical meeting, this is something which affects the environment, obviously, because in that small number of participants, 2 or 3 are from the executive community, and they are the ones who manage the technicalities and all the cameras and the sounds. So what happens is they keep moving during the meeting. So this is what affects the environment, because what we see is that already there are small number of speakers, 5 or participants, and in them 2 and 3 are moving. So this gives a vibe of something unprofessional. But the reason behind is that if there are a large number of participants who are attending a physical meeting, I'm not counting the online persons, but if there is a large number of people who attend the physical meeting, then obviously the environment will seem much and more professional. So I would say these are my findings. I hope that it sounded better to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Relative Editor Toastmaster. So we are on the verge to end this meeting, and before end, I just want to make this, and hope sustains, and we are hoping for the best, and someone are hoping, and we can be the one who can make their wishes come by an aid, our volunteerism, our donations, and etc. So the word is for you. If we are privileged, so it is our responsibility to share what we have. We have monetary things, money, we should share them. We have education, knowledge, something, experience, skill, we should share that. Then, because there are lots of people for whom there is only one thing to sustain, and that is food. And it's our responsibility to sustain their food. So that's all from my side, and I am just throwing the poll for the Big Four and over to the president for.
That was quite interesting and really very nice which we had today. Would you like to give any comments?
No. Just share your experience. How did you find today's meeting in 2 to 3 words?
It was a quite engaging meeting, and we can learn a lot by this type of gathering in our society.
And more.
Since our BP education is in the meeting, so you can ask PD and Talha, is there any announcement?
Is he online?
Yes.
Oh, yes. TTM Talha, are you there? No.
Seems like he's
PTM Tata.
Okay, would you like to share your comments about today's meeting?
No.
Okay, so let me.
We are just waiting for the votes.
Okay. So the best speaker and a popular choice is goes to DTM Setras. Best event topic. The popular choice goes to Toastmaster Vishan. Best evaluator for today is Toastmaster Ghulam Qadir. Best facilitator for today's meeting is our accountant DTM Setras. Best in Big Four. Best in Big Four goes to Toastmaster Qadir.
Okay, and with that, I declare.
There's one more award, best critics choice, as per the secret judge, goes to DTM Sarfaraz Nasir.
And with that, I declare the meeting adjourned.